Okay then, Helldivers, we are back and we've got loads to go over today. As you have just seen, we've got the biggest update ever as we move into the Unjust at 6.0.0, and this one's going to bring you guys an array of new features, including the brand new Bastion tank. The Chinese voiceovers are now being added into Helldivers 2. Later on, you'll be able to arm yourself with the brand new Seed Breakers Premium Warbond, and we'll be able to march into style with the new Warhorse set. A bit different to our normal ones inside of the superstore. We've also got an array of balance patches and so much more to go over. So let's see what we've got happening on the patch notes. If you haven't already, smash that beautiful like button, subscribe with post notifications turned on. It'd be greatly appreciated. Check out our incredible sponsor, GamerSupps, the company that offer esports athletes and gamers alike with the most effective and healthy energy drink option. We've got an array of bundles dropping all the time. Use code CloudPlays at checkout for a cheeky discount. And we've also got a giveaway going on for the channel with super credits dropping all over the place. If you want to get involved with that, it's very, very simple. Head down to the comment section, put in a fire emoji, and it'll enter you in. We'll be announcing it later on today. Make sure you stay tuned. That being said, let's dive into the game and see what's happening right now inside of Helldivers 2. So starting off, we received an incoming message from High Command. Now, we are pre-recording this the night before, so obviously the major order would have now completed and we'll have had the outcome that we've had. We'll be live on stream at the point of this dropping, so if you want to see it live in time, well, make sure you jump on in. But this states right here that we have confirmed with concrete proof and beyond any doubt that the Automaton Collective stole our schematics for the Star of Peace. We cannot let them turn this defensive tool of peace into a destructive weapon of war. It's now up to you, our most elite and powerful force, to bring them to justice on their own turf. We have approved the deployment of new equipment for squads to aid in the swift elimination of the automaton threat, push towards cyberstan, and end this insult to managed democracy. Helldivers, let this be the last time the automatons steal from Super Earth. And what is this brand new approved deployment of equipment, you may ask? It is the Bastion tank, a new tank that is ready to roll over the entrenched enemies. The Bastion tank offers unrivaled firepower and the defense of the battlefield. It will require your team to work together to hunt down the enemy, with 4 different slots for all 4 members of your party to be able to jump on in and make their point towards the Bastion tank, being able to show absolute democracy and domination as we go in with a bang. So make sure you jump onto the game, as you are definitely going to want to get your hands on that. Amazing indeed, and we are on our way to cyberstan, which is an intriguing way to be able to go forward, as we have been wanting for something happen on the automaton front for quite some time, and cyberstan has always been one of those elusive planets that we've spoke about heading over to, and now we're on the offensive. Moving from that, we are obviously going to need an array of new tools in our arsenal, and my lord, they have definitely handed that one to us. Not only are we going to be receiving the brand new Premium Warbond, the Siege Breakers Warbond, dropping later on this afternoon, but we're also going to be able to have a brand new battle style, the new Warhorse set that's going to be dropping inside of the superstore. Now, as it stands in the patch notes itself, it doesn't actually show any assets towards this and doesn't even describe what this is going to be. So we've got a mysterious set that's going to be making its way into the game at some stage. We're just going to have to keep tabs on when that will be dropping. Moving forward though, we've got a lot to take a look at, as we've got balance changes, old and new, and even some crazy changes that are going to be happening inside of the game. Now, the biggest key factor to go over first of all is the melee weapons and the armor passive. With the increased melee damage, has had a complete rebalance on it. So the intent of this was to make the armor passive, that increased melee damage, less mandatory, but still to be useful to make melee weapons more effective. We increased the melee weapons damage and increased the modifiers on the armor passives that increased melee damage overall. Total damage with the melee armor will be higher or the same as it was prior to this, but the base melee attack has been given a 50% damage increase without the armor. So you guys can essentially run whatever armor you want, and you're still going to have an increase in that melee damage. But if you want it to tip over the edge just a little bit further, you can go ahead and utilize those melee increases. It's a really, really good usage for it, and I think that they definitely have really pushed that one in the right direction. When it goes into the SMG and pistol rounds, they've now released the sway, which is a great move. They obviously increased the sway and the drag, then they increased the drag again, and now they've realized that the sway was not needed. It states right here that the intent is that the increased drag of SMG and pistol, which make it close combat weapon less effective at range, is the main characteristic of these weapons. We decreased the sway modifier to make them the same as pretty much every other weapon. So you guys are now going to be able to utilize that a lot better off closer range, and it's going to work a little bit nicer, that is for for sure. I think this is a massive welcoming change to a lot of you guys. We've obviously got them cycling through on screen as there are quite a lot of different numbers, but all of them are just kind of small numbers here and there that you guys are not going to want to hear me read out. So it's a very nice welcome change for the SMGs and the pistols, but it's something that you guys are definitely going to appreciate, that's for sure. Moving in from that, they obviously have the Unify Weapon Function Direction inputs. Now, I'll put this writing up on screen, but just to briefly describe what I'm talking about, when it is that you try to alter things, such as the way that you fire the rounds, such as the fully automatic, or the single fire, or the pulse fires, or even if you want to put your torch on and off, they're all going to have a unified movement for the directional inputs inside of every single weapon. So there's not going to be like a switch up on some of them. You can change the scopes fire this way. It's all going to be exactly the same no matter what it is that you're programming them to, whether it's ammo types, volley modes, safe modes, they're all going to have the same sides now. So it shouldn't really affect you guys too much, but as you get into it, you will notice that some of the things have moved around and changed a little bit. Overall, a nice welcome change to make it all a little bit symmetrical, that's for sure. One of the biggest changes for me, though, was the difficulty on difficulties 9 and 10. Now, they've made a change across all factions to increase the intensity on high difficulties. Now, the biggest change should be noticeable more so on the automaton front while we're heading towards cyberstan, while terminates and the illuminate are less affected, but have still been significantly affected to increase the intensity on higher difficulties. For me personally, an incredible move, and I am really, really here for it. I think that it is definitely something that they should be welcoming in. We've always been wanting that higher difficulty and the more enemies coming through. We did think that it was pretty much out of range, but apparently it's definitely something that they can now do. And for me, a welcoming change indeed. Let me know how you guys are feeling about it, and make sure you dive on in. Again, we're going to be live at the point of this video going up, testing out all of these changes, so make sure that you stay tuned. We're going to be going in hard. Check the channel to see if we're live right now. Now, taking a look at some of the more layered numbers right here, we've got throwables where the pineapple and the arc have had increased amounts that have been gone from 3 to 4 on the pineapple and 4 to 5 on the arc grenades, although their starting amounts have obviously got less numbers, but they've still been increased by 1 as well. So a nice little additional point in there for those of you who are pineapple lovers. In terms of stratagems, though, we've had a lot of changes in terms of the cooldown rates for these, including the ballistic shield backpack and the smoke strike. They've both had a cooldown shortened, which is very, very nice and always welcoming. Naturally, the melee damage has affected the stratagems inside of this, such as the defoliation tool, the one true flag, and otherwise I think that it's obviously going to be something that we knew was going to be affected, but it's definitely there now, so I'm glad that they've already done that. And the grenade launcher, the GL21, this one has been increased in the armor penetration value. Now that we've obviously got the belt-fed grenade launcher that's going to be running in at looking to be a medium armor penetration, this one right here is being upped to a heavy pen, which means essentially bigger booms for your bucks. Personally, this one is probably more useful for me. I think that it's actually going to be a lot better. They move on into enemies, though, and they do give you quite a detailed note right here that states that some enemies have had their damage and durable rebalance to adjust for Helldiver vehicles with large health pools. It will not change their effectiveness against normal Helldivers, only their vehicles. Essentially, the durable damage rebalance is a squishy part of an enemy, essentially underneath the shielded areas. Things such as the Bile Titans, Chargers, Crescent Overseers, rocket-firing automatons, Hulk melee attacks, mortars, acid, etc. have gotten values adjusted. Some of the adjustments can only affect certain targets, i.e. the Bastion. Other affectments are such as like the FRV and the exosuit. So enemies' aim calculations were not always updated when they were made. There were many enemies trying to aim, making the automatons on higher difficulties a bit bad aiming. Now, there should be now attempt to update the aim better considering the data they have before they get another proper aim. This means that the automatons will aim better even when there are a lot of them without any further cost of performance. Overall, a very big complexity when it comes to the enemies, and I think that it should be a nice change for sure. It's obviously going to make things a little bit harder, but I think it could actually work really well. But the long and short of it is essentially you are not going to take as much damage now when it comes to the FRV, the tank, and the actual mech exosuit itself. It does seem to work quite well, and hopefully it means that they're not so tin canny, because my lord, I get really annoyed when they blow up just by being looked at. It's so annoying to me. A nice little quirky change, though, is that emotes and victory poses are now being blended and interchangeable, except for a few exceptions, like emotes that require 2 people, the kick and a few others. All of the victory poses can now be used as emotes, and all of the emotes can be used as victory poses. So a nice, healthy blend, that's for damn sure. Moving into some of the fixes, though, they've now got a hang detection radius now on for the PC players. If your game hangs for more than 20 seconds, then this new feature will essentially kick in and crash the game for you, instead of just letting it stay hung. This generates a bit of a file called a crash dump, which contains important debugging information for their programmers to diagnose and fix the root cause of the hang. If you do experience a hang, just make sure you wait at least 40 seconds before restarting your PC to allow the hang detector to do its job. If you do experience a 20-second plus hang followed by a crash, then make sure you are interacting with the crash report site and then pushing that through, and hopefully they can get to the end of these bloody locks and hard locks and all of these problems that have been happening inside a PC. No idea why it's happening, but my lord, it's just something that's a massive, massive problem. In terms of some just rogue crashes, they've had a few crash fixes right here for the weapon customization screen, and a few others, including the automatons in lava missions, which have been a bit of a nightmare, but that is now rectified. The weapons and stratagem fixes, I'm just going to put them on screen because there is an absolute array of them, although some of them are just not displaying an overheat properly or not being reloaded correctly in terms of the animation, and some of these things are relatively minor and you may not have even noticed them, but you can obviously reload fast at Renaissance vehicles and stuff like that. There's so much in here, it's just not really relevant to your everyday gameplay. Now, one thing that is going to be relevant, though, and for some reason at the bottom of the list, I have no idea why, is the warrant. They made the drag and gravity the same on the non-guided projectile as the last patch changed for the guided projectile, which essentially moved the guided gravity movement is going to now work inside of it for both of the areas. Really, really odd, but it is something that they've fixed. Now, they fixed the crosshair not updating when toggling into the weapon function through the new input bindings. Very minor, but again, you will notice it. Now, there are a load of miscellaneous fixes and so much more, including optimizations. I'm just going to play them up on screen so you guys can see them, as again, they shouldn't affect your everyday, but hopefully it has made your game a little bit smoother. We'll have to see exactly how it is that this all plays out before the Warbond drops later on today. I'm intrigued to see how they've actually got on with this, as this whole big patch update looks to be probably one of the better things that we've seen inside of the game for a very, very long time. So I've got my fingers crossed. Hopefully you do too. Make sure you jump over to the stream and come and see us live and let me know what you think of this latest patch update. Thanks again for watching, guys. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, and as always, up until the next time, I'll see you in the clouds.